PAX West 2018 in the wonderful state of Washington in the Pacific Northwest. Is that where we are, Brian?
Yep, the great Northwest of the United States, where the best cities are.
The best cities are. You're going to have to really speak up here as we're...
How loud is it?
I don't know. Everything looks like it's going pretty good. I'm joined by, I think this is what we did last time.
Yeah.
Brian with an eye Aldridge, our friend...
Lance Gunner, fan of the show.
And our technical expert,
director.
Sean, behind the camera running everything this evening. A little late here on the West Coast, but it's 9 o'clock local time, just past 12:30 on the East Coast. And we're here getting ready for the first day of PAX West 2018.
Yes.
So Brian didn't miss his flight. So I think it's already better than PAX East last year, where Brian had missed his flight.
Better than it was.
I got to the airport and I was I just sit there for an hour and whatever waiting to get on the plane. So this was a big change from last year. But everything went seamlessly, except for maybe for Lance.
Yeah,
Had a little issue.
I had a flat tire, but managed to get there anyway. So that was good.
So as we sit here and we are at this point just about 12 hours away from the opening of the show, what are we looking forward to at PAX West? I thought PAX East was a pretty good show. I thought we had some good interviews. We of course met the people with the what was that? Not the Darwin Project. Darwin Project people. So what are we looking forward to?
Well, we're going to get an hour in early, so we'll get our hour early media access, and that'll give us an opportunity to kind of... The layout of this one is a little bit different than last year. That there's multiple tiers.
It's a mess.
And so it's going to be much more difficult for us to really, in an hour's time, get around that whole convention center. So we'll pretty much map out an area, skim it for something that might be interesting, but I want to see, I'm hoping that maybe we can talk to someone from Amazon Games. I mean, that would be really interesting because they've been pretty tight-lipped other than announcing this. Epic Games is here.
They are.
So that
Big
would be
Fortnite
really cool.
Presence.
Yeah, Fortnite is all over this event. They've got a 2-story mini golf arena. They've got the side of what would you call the design that they've got on the side of a building?
It's a large mural that covers like a couple of stories worth of windows that comes together and creates a collage for a large picture.
And I mean, as we know on this podcast, we're kind of a big deal, right? That's no surprise. So I got some inside information on my flight. There were some Fortnite developers that work for Epic Games who were sitting right behind me. And they were talking about the game, talking about how they're doing builds at 2 o'clock in the morning, before PAX and getting everything all ready to go.
Did you turn around and get engaged? Or
No, I didn't. But I was listening.
I hear you.
Is that a problem? Is that
no,
a bad person?
No. There were people on my flight. There was a couple on my flight that actually won some kind of a Guild Wars 2 contest, and I guess ArenaNet flew them out here for that, and they were on my flight. They were super excited to come to PAX, and I thought that was kind of cool.
So as we the lineup's a little bit different than what we saw at PAX East. The thing that is a little bit different, I think, is the proximity of where this event is. This is on the West Coast, and it seems like there's a lot more... I guess it seems like video games, obviously, the industry is more on the West Coast than it is on the East Coast. I think for general, that's a pretty accurate statement. So it seemed like maybe there's some smaller companies that are able to get into PAX East because it's not as big of an event as PAX West. So people like Conan and Funcom are at an event like that. This was a little bit different.
I think you'll also maybe get some of those developers that maybe don't have a booth that are just coming to the show too, because we know, for instance, we came across Sarah Flanagan, I think is her first name.
Yes, yeah.
From Daybreak Games, but I don't think Daybreak has a presence here. So I think for her, she was just coming to the show because for her it's in her backyard. I mean, it's only an hour to max 2-hour flight to get to this show. I think you're going to get a lot more of those people because there's a lot of people in Seattle that are developers, and then all through California you've got all those developers that for them this is a cheap and easy flight to get to, where Boston, I don't think there's nearly as many developers, so for everybody that's a long trip.
Right, and I mean, when you're with a company and on some kind of a budget, it's so much easier to just, when it's this close, how could you not send somebody down? You know what I mean?
No.
Take advantage of it.
So I think with Epic, it'll be interesting to see if they are, because we saw there's a lot of updates yesterday. I noticed that Rocket League had a big update. They put out their update. And some of the games that we play, they put out their updates right before PAX so that they could unveil and actually talk about these things and show them off on the floor. So that'll be interesting to see, and maybe talk to some of these companies, because we'll be able to see those notes, see those things that they changed, and maybe get some information out of them of the upcoming things. Because I think that'll be the fun part.
Now, we haven't been to PAX West yet. Obviously, our first day is tomorrow. It seems like maybe PAX East was more of a consumer event, as this one seems to be more of a developer event. It seems like there's more developer influence on it. PAX East is kind of maybe bring the kids and go around. This seems like it's more an industry event than... We haven't been there yet, but just by the looks of who's going to be there versus who's not, looks like it's more of an industry event than it is you just kind of walk in as a consumer event.
See, I think it might be too early to tell that, because what we saw today were people setting up. We saw crates full of Origin PCs, and everybody was buzzing around, and it did feel like the companies were there having a presence. Mm-hmm. But like, we won't really know till tomorrow, like what the crowd looks like. But man, there's gonna be a crowd tomorrow. Like, it was thick down there already, and all of our flights, we were sitting around people that were like, "Oh, I'm going to PAX too," So
now here's something cool that I'm really looking forward to. Valve has got a massive booth at PAX
awesome.
West. Now, for people that aren't familiar, I'm wearing the shirt for Firewatch right now. Campo Santo was acquired by Valve about 8 months ago, and they've got a brand new game coming out.
Yeah, isn't that the one that's in kind of the desert?
It's like a.
And I think
maybe it is a desert.
I think it's like Egypt type of a atmosphere, and it looked like an. It's much more the Firewatch look.
Yeah, definitely the Firewatch look. So they're now owned by Valve, which was the first time Valve has acquired a game studio in quite some time.
Yeah,
I'd assume we'll see them. I don't know what else Valve's going to have.
Do you think that they are getting a little nervous about Amazon Studios?
Valve?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because I think that they haven't really had to, and they've got all this pressure from, these big studios saying we're not going to use Steam for our platform. I think that for them internally, they got to look. Well, if this trend continues, this is going to be a problem a year to 5 years from now, when all of a sudden the major titles are on some other platform, we don't have them, and then we're also not releasing any games. I think that they're looking, because Portal was a very, very good game.
That was the last game, I believe.
But that was that's the last one.
2009.
Portal 2 was the last one I remember them putting out, and they've hinted at stuff, but I think that they felt like they don't have to do anything right now.
Well, and they're under assault on a couple of fronts. Discord now, a couple weeks ago, released their new kind of splash page where you can buy games, invite people to games from Discord. It doesn't even link through Steam. So they're kind of getting it on multiple sides right now. They've got Amazon kind of breathing down their neck on that front. Discord's stealing all of their chat. Nobody's using Steam chat almost at all. I don't think anybody's using the Steam groups either. I think it's all moved to Discord. TeamSpeak's non-existent. Ventrilo, nobody's using either of that, and nobody's using either of those services.
Now, actually, one thing I found about TeamSpeak is they actually are contracted with the government, so they do a lot of military work. So that's why they're still alive.
Huh?
TeamSpeak actually does with the military. They handle all their voice chat servers, or they use their service inside with like the U.S. military, which I thought was really strange. So they got to be making huge contract money for that. That's why they don't worry about the gaming market, because they probably found that there's not nearly as much money in that.
So they're going to be there looking at this list. Mixer, which is Microsoft's product, kind of makes sense. Microsoft's got a big presence here in Seattle. They've got a very large booth. Ubisoft's got a big booth. Microsoft's got 4 booths. Sony has 3. Bungie's
What do you think Microsoft is? Microsoft pushing their gaming platform?
I think so. They had an event this evening. It was called PAX ID. It was kind of at an odd time. We didn't have a chance to go to it, but
because they've got that subscription service. I assume that's
Game Pass.
That's kind of what they're trying to push now, because Microsoft really has made a change from selling individual products to, if you notice, with Office and with Windows, everything's going to a service. Subscription based. Everything. Nothing is a one-time purchase anymore, because they realize they can make more money over time, and so they like to stretch that out. So I think that they're doing the exact same thing with gaming, to where they realize, well, if we can get everybody on a $20 per month minimum money to us, it's nonstop. People, even if they're not playing them, they'll keep that going for a long period of time, and they'll forget about it a lot of times. More than we're going to sell one copy of Halo for $60.
Yep.
So I think that that's kind of the push that they're doing, which isn't so bad. I mean, it's like the Netflix of gaming in a way. I think that would be a big competition even towards, because notice those ones aren't using the Steam marketplace either.
Well, I mean, we've seen software do it, like, big software companies, Adobe, Autodesk. I mean, it's kind of the norm now for
so if gaming, what if gaming goes there? People say, well, what in the world could get Steam out of the way, because Steam is such a big player at this moment? Well, if you have a Netflix, because we said, well, what can knock out all these movie rental places?
Blockbuster, Redbox.
Yeah, I mean, because there's the convenience of going down there, getting your movies, and you have them. Before that, there wasn't. So you had the mail service come up where they were mailing them to you. Still wasn't perfect, but then the service came in where you could at your home instantly play whatever game you want or watch whatever movie you want. And people were like, "Oh, I'm going to do this, even if it doesn't have this one particular one. I'm just going to pick out a movie that is convenient." If they start doing that with games, to where almost all the major titles are under a $20 to $30 per month subscription, that's going to kill the purchasing market, because people will play those games.
And that's scary too. I think that's a really scary thing. I mean, Brian, you like to own games. What do you have? 1,100 games in your Steam library. I mean, I like to own games too. I mean, I've got a whole shelf of games that something about owning the game. I remember when we bought The Last COD. I was hemming and hawing about, do I want the digital copy? I like owning it, right? I like seeing the case sitting on my shelf.
But is that just where you come from? Is that just what you're used to?
I don't
because
know.
like I grew up getting discs, and I mean, I have it.
I think I like looking at it. I like walking by the shelf and see, oh, look at all these games. Even though I don't play 3/4, I don't play 99% of them.
Bookshelf just full of
games, right?
So I just cleared out. I had all of my Xbox and all these games that were just drawers full of them, and I just took and put them in a box and put them in the garage this last week.
They went the way of VHS.
And now everything that you get on PlayStation, and you purchase it, and you don't want the physical copy, because then you have to take that disc, you have to put it in the PlayStation to be able to play that game. They have made it really inconvenient to play those games, and everything is now purchased on their marketplace, not traded, because they know they make you put that disc in there, and most people would rather just buy it.
And you touched on a point a moment ago about Netflix. Back when you would fill out your queue and they would mail you discs, like I couldn't have envisioned how big they were going to get once they started flipping over to streaming. So it's kind of hard to envision where video games could be, 10 years from now, as far as that goes. You know what I mean?
Now,
we've already went over to a digital download format.
Look at Netflix, though. I've heard some people actually complaining in a place we were at earlier today about how Netflix went from doing really high quality stuff, and now they're kind of putting out mass content.
Quantity over quality.
They're going quantity over quality because they're just wanting people to have these Netflix titles. Where you look at HBO and some of these other ones, they're going for quality.
Game of Thrones, which they spend
AMC
tens of thousands of dollars per episode to produce.
HBO,
it's worth it too.
Yeah,
they go through and they make quality, and then people want those, and so
Silicon Valley is another example of a show that a recent HBO show, again, very popular quality wise.
So I think that if Microsoft expects this to make it, they have to go for quality. They can't just start tossing cheap games in there and expecting people to subscribe to this. They have to get those big titles. And if they can get those big titles, that's where it'll hurt Steam.
You're watching Infections Podcast's coverage of PAX West 2018. We are live in Seattle, Washington. We're having a conversation about the digital download market, the future of gaming. An interesting booth here. This is one of the largest booths that I see here, Lance, and it's Sega. They have got a massive booth. It's bigger. It's 2 times the size of the Twitch booth.
Dude, Sega's still a big player in coin-op stuff. Like we were
But
arcade today.
What are they going to present here? This will be interesting because I can't think of the big Sega games. I know they're out there.
Yeah, I mean Sonic 2006 remake. I mean, I don't know what they're
when we go by that booth.
Sonic Legends.
There's probably going to be certain games that they're pushing there, and that's what I'm going to be interested to see is what are those games that Sega's saying, hey, these are. Obviously, if they got that much booth space,
Gigabyte and Nintendo's booth combined is the size of Sega's booth. What? Gigabyte, which is one of the largest motherboard manufacturers, they make a whole bunch of PC parts, and Nintendo. Yeah. Sega's got a huge booth.
Obviously, they feel like there's something there that they're pushing, so it'll be interesting to see.
The only thing I've seen them doing is stuff like at the arcade. Like today, you jumped on the Afterburner Simulator, and it was from Sega.
Yeah, right? They've got one thing, and I doubt they're going to be pushing this, but they've been pushing into the mobile market. some of their old Sonics and things like that. They haven't.
That's existing.
They haven't been good. But now they're pushing them out and taking all their versions and putting them on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one thing. Other than that, they may have some. The Valkyria Chronicles, is that Sega?
Yes,
like
it is. Valkyria Chronicles is. I'm looking at a list right here of some stuff they talk about at Gamescom.
Persona 3.
Persona 3 is on here. Persona 5 is on here.
These are the super, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but niche and nerdy. Like, these are the ones that those people that really are into those kind of games, they will buy every single one of those. And there's a huge crowd at this PAX event of people that love those.
Yeah, so it looks like they've got a Sonic Team racing game, which I mean, I don't. But they've got a mass. They gotta have some. They gotta have something more up their sleeve than Sonic Team Racing.
Total War 3 Kingdoms.
No, that's not 2 times the size of Twitch's booth. They've got to have something major here.
You would think so.
So I guess I'm looking forward to that. I'm a big Sega fan. Love the Sonic. I think Sonic's one of my favorite gaming franchises.
Phantasy Star Online, was that Sega also?
That was PSO was a Sega game on the Dreamcast. Moving on from that, Twitch has got a large booth, and then what's something interesting that they have here that I don't remember seeing at PAX East was
what is it? Who is it?
all these little booths that are here. There's a lot of smaller companies that I went through.
Whoa,
Lance.
There we go. Audio check 1 2. Everybody can hear that. Okay, good deal. Glad the mic's working.
Professional.
It's tight quarters in here, guys. Sorry.
I don't remember what I was saying there.
You said there's a lot of small.
A lot of smaller booths that are here compared to PAX East, from what I remember. This layout, as we were talking about when we opened, a lot different. It seems like it looks like by this map there's 4 or 5 different floors of this convention. When PAX East was all just the Boston Convention Center, it was just wide open Boston.
And so we could do laps,
and we did
around that and try to find those. So this is going to be a lot harder. We're going to have to do it. Floor
it was an easier
floor.
layout though. You could just
this is like a traditional this is like a traditional trade show, like at a trade show in Vegas, where they just kind of have little conference rooms and stuff converted into these expo halls. So that'll be interesting to see as well. Now, board gaming wise, I know this doesn't necessarily fit the genre of the podcast. Us 3 and Sean as well, more engaged in board gaming than we were.
More than I've ever been.
Than March of last year when we were at PAX East.
It's never been a thing for me, and like now I'm really starting to get interested in it.
So,
especially with the D&D campaign.
I'm looking for that. Maybe you'll buy maybe you need like a new kitchen table, right? That doubles as like a
sure that'll go
blackjack and a D&D table. I mean, I don't know. They've got all this
with the table that lowers down, and then you can put the.
Honey, I bought this new table. You just flip it over, and it goes like.
it's a Warhammer map. So it'll be cool to see some of that stuff. Now, there is also a lot of after PAX events. Lenovo's got a big PAX post party. Intel's got a big mixer that they've got going on. I feel like those may be more interesting to attend than even some of the things in the show itself.
Yeah.
PUBG, for example, does not have a booth, but they're doing an event. They're doing a tournament. Same thing with Epic. Epic doesn't have a booth on the show floor.
Right.
But they've got
there's Fortnite presence here for real.
There is absolutely a Fortnite presence, but they don't have a booth.
The thing is, all they have to do is get people talking about them. People in the back of their minds, and Fortnite's really big right now, but just saying, because they'll think, when they see that big wall of stuff for Fortnite, they hear about the miniature golf, in their minds, Fortnite or Epic was there.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the only thing that matters. It's when you're not there and people say, oh, I didn't see them. Regardless, they're not on the main floor, but people see them. When you enter that convention center, there's a huge thing that's Fortnite right there.
Now, we haven't been in the show floor yet. There could be some games that aren't listed at the show that may be there in Corsair's booth or somebody else's booth. But if we want to quickly go over a couple things that maybe we're disappointed with, people that aren't here. I'm a little disappointed in the ARC folks. I thought they'd be out here hawking their game.
I mean, they've got their new expansion coming out in the next couple months, right?
Yeah, but when is it acceptable to no longer go to shows for stuff?
Guild Wars 2 is here.
Yeah, but their main office is near here.
But ARC is in Seattle.
Oh,
ARC is here. The wild card is based out of this town. So why are they not here?
Well, I
was trying to cover for
I think like I think obviously Ark is a game that we cover.
They'll probably be here. I mean, we'll probably see those developers here, but they don't have a booth.
They don't have a booth.
And this would be the easiest booth for them to have.
I just want to see that dinosaur, a life-size dinosaur.
But I think that they feel their money is. They probably feel like the people that are going to get the last expansion. First of all, it's a season pass for it generally. The people that got the first two are going to have the third one, and then those same people that don't, if they're buying one at a time, why would they go and buy just the third one all by itself? They're just going to get the season pass and get all three.
DayZ, another game I'm a little disappointed in. They're literally releasing the Xbox and PlayStation version of this game. They did a huge demo at Gamescom, which was literally last week. Which I think maybe part of the problem is companies blow their budgets on Gamescom, which is in where's
Europe.
Gamescom? Sean, do you remember where Gamescom is?
Somewhere in Europe.
So maybe they're blowing their budget on that, and they're not.
Well,
coming
and
to
if
PAX
they
West.
have all the thing is, if they have all that equipment,
yeah,
how do they get it here in time for this?
Dude,
rush
they
shipping.
set it up.
They
and
have to
tear
ship
down.
it. But the thing is, they're probably putting it in big crates, which is then going on a boat, and then coming back here, shipping it. It takes a while because they're not flying them. They're not overnighting these things, and for them to get it turned around in a week or two, just doesn't happen when you're shipping across from continent to continent. So I think that's a big issue is the timing of those two events, to where you have Gamescom where they've just sent their whole booth, all their stuff. Otherwise, they have to have two complete separate booths, that they've purchased and are ready to set up, and I just don't see them doing that.
What about the We Happy Few people? This seems like this would be a good event for them to show up to. They've just released the game within the past month, 2 months.
Yeah.
The full version of the game.
And regardless, even if they didn't know how it was going to perform, they would have had to have booked this booth a long time ago before. So I think they should have at least gotten the booth and done some pushing for, hey, it's out. Even if it was a small booth, just demoing the game, having stuff where people could go and play it a little bit.
You were playing that a lot when it first came out. Have you liked it so far?
Yeah, I like it
It's
a lot.
good, huh?
People are going to think this is a joke, but No Man's Sky. They went through hell for a year and a half where they just released a game totally broken. Again, within the past couple weeks, literally reinvented the game. They've got a decent amount of people playing it. Why are they not?
They're on like
PAX West?
1.57, 1.58 or something. They've been putting out regular updates, and I figured that now they have a product they should be proud of.
It does.
Why are they not here?
It does seem like if they were going to relaunch, that this is the kind of thing you want to do. You know what I mean?
I gotta tell you, I'm quite disappointed in the survival community. Looking at the list of people that, again, this may change. There may be somebody that squeezes into the Corsair booth or the Microsoft booth or the Mixer booth, but there is not a good presence here from the survival community.
There's some no names that we don't know about yet.
That's absolutely
The
possible.
diamonds in the rough.
I'm just saying, you and I spent probably 2.5 hours going through our emails of PAX West games, the people that sent out emails to us with our media badges that said, "Hey, we're going to be here."
I don't want to be mean, but it was junk. There was so much.
It's not that necessarily.
It definitely didn't fit into this community and this genre. A lot of it, you know what I mean? It was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see a lot that was, like you said, for the survival community. So hopefully we're gonna come across some stuff that's gonna be interesting that we can pick up and polish, and some new stuff to play. So
I think we'll know right away, like when we're going by, because we noticed with that one, once we saw some gameplay with Darwin Project, we're like, okay, that's cool.
Right.
And I think that that was a small development company that they had worked at a large studio. They branched off, and then they came and started doing their own thing. And I think that gave them an opportunity. Here, that was where they unveiled it for everyone to see for the first time. And so I think that you may have some of those companies that have left some of those big studios like that, maybe get some 5-man teams that have some cool stuff to show, but they don't want to talk about it before this because they want this to be their unveiling. So I'm hoping we get a few of those.
How about the Miscreated folks? They're not very public.
No, they're not.
They're one of the last games. They're one of the last games standing in the survival in the current survival genre.
Do you think they're making enough money to make a booth though? Like the thing is, they don't have a central office. They don't have one place. These guys are spread all out.
Okay. I'm cutting you off because we went through these emails, and you're looking at these random ass puzzle games. How do these people afford to go to PAX but Miscreated can't?
But the thing is,
Miscreated. I'm not just going after Miscreated. I'm
He's
just
talking
saying
about the centralization of it, though.
Yeah, the thing is, they could pick a few guys. They could have a small booth and just say, "Hey, we want to promote Miscreated." Have 2 or 3 of their developers sitting there, just manning the booth, and saying, hey, this is miscreated.
Find a couple people to represent, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got people in the United States,
probably on the West Coast.
Probably on the West Coast that they could have sent here and just had a booth. So
their environment artist would be a good one. He's awesome.
Yeah, but
Marco, I think.
Mark, is he? Do you remember where he was? He's in Europe.
He's in Europe.
That's the thing. Is there's a number of those people that are in Europe.
Chris lives in South Carolina. Chris Sprance.
Yeah. So those are the things. They don't. I don't know how many people they have on the West Coast, but that's probably. I assume in their minds that's the logistics of. Well, we'd have to fly these people out and then try to get a booth set up. But the thing is, all they need is a couple computers.
Yeah.
Set it up and let people play.
Well, but also they may be targeting. Maybe for all we know, they do have some kind of a plan. They're like, okay, 2019, that's going to be our time. We're going to be where we want to be by then. We're going to push, to really get it out there and stuff. So, I just
think in general, and you did. We haven't been to the show again. It's as we're recording this. This will be up on YouTube, but it's Thursday night. It is just after 10 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah.
Show doors open in 11 hours now. For actually, they open in 12 hours for everybody. We'll get in an hour early. We get it at 9 tomorrow morning, so 11 hours for us. There could still be some games there that we weren't expecting. A great example last year was The Culling.
The Culling
was a game that it just was popped into, I want to say, Corsair's booth. Or maybe it was MSI's booth or something.
I think it was Corsair's. I think it was Corsair's booth that they were in.
So that's possible. That may happen.
Yep.
But overall, I'm kind of disappointed with how the survival community showed up. I mean, we cover plenty of games on the podcast every week. And I don't believe Fortnite and PUBG are here. But I don't really count. I mean, those are the two largest games that people are playing right now. What else? Who else is here?
Well, I mean, what about... This is something we don't really touch base on a lot, but, what about hardware manufacturers, I mean, we saw some...
AMD and MSI got big booths.
Audio-Technica's new headsets.
Yeah.
We saw stuff like that up there, so hopefully...
Blue's got a big booth, which is now Logitech.
Yeah.
So they've got a big booth. Origin's got a big booth here. Intel's got a big presence. Lenovo's got a big presence.
Of Origin stuff.
Yeah, we did see that.
So I think we'll get an opportunity, because one thing, NVIDIA, I haven't heard... But the thing is, they unveiled this new... line of graphics cards that are really making people excited. That would be an awesome thing to say, hey, here's NVIDIA. I think they could have...
That would have been a big boost.
And they probably will be with Intel or somebody. AMD, well, I guess...
So that's where they may piggyback with a couple of their specialized vendors to say, hey, show off. Because you got to think, NVIDIA isn't just NVIDIA making cards. NVIDIA licenses EVGA. NVIDIA licenses these different companies. So Gigabyte makes video cards for NVIDIA. Right, so they do the chip. So we may see NVIDIA kind of throughout these different hardware booths that we have, showing off and saying, "Hey, here's the new 2K whatever video card line." They're probably all sold out. I mean, are they released yet? I don't think they.
No, I think they just announced.
But they just announced it, so there's not even one out there. But I bet you that they will be pushing that a little bit through their manufacturers.
It'd be cool to see one running.
Yeah, it would.
You know what I mean? That'd be pretty slick.
Well, they're talking about how this new technology and it's going to make a bunch of games look better. That regular games, they don't.
That is their job.
They don't. But the thing is, they don't have to rewrite it. They're handling and doing some things on the card to handle. I think it's water and shadows and everything. So games that right now, without being touched, they're going to look better on those cards because they're going to handle it and make it look better.
So
in
the
card.
architecture's different on that.
On the new chips, yeah. And so they're adding some new technology to it that's going to do some pretty crazy things. So I think that's going to be a new way that these things are going. And I'm wondering what the price, because if that's something that doesn't benefit the Bitcoin market, are we finally going to have some video cards for gamers? I mean, I'm thinking maybe they finally figured, well, we have to quit just going for the GPU of fast processing. And now they're like, well, let's put things in these new video cards that don't benefit Bitcoin miners so that they don't buy these cards and the gamers just get them and they'll quit complaining to us.
Yeah, but I mean, NVIDIA covers more ground than just gaming and Bitcoin. I mean, they cover the whole CAD section too, their whole quadro.
But those are specialized cards that you don't buy for gaming.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying, because they could roll out.
You think they should diversify?
They could probably roll out a Bitcoin
Yeah.
version that's specific for Bitcoin.
Just for mining.
Yeah, and then you have your ones that are video games that have these special features. I think they're trying to separate those out because Bitcoin miners have just been buying everything, and we're the ones who made NVIDIA, right? What they are today. And so I don't think, and Bitcoin I think is an up and down market. They can't rely on a constant Bitcoin. presence, because if the price drops, then it's going to turn around and cards aren't going to be purchased, and they're going to have an oversupply. And when it goes up, then all of a sudden I don't think they want that. They want that consistent. We know that year after year they're going to purchase these cards, and that's what video game players do.
Yep.
I'm looking through our notes here real quick before we wrap up the show, and a couple of the people that we know are going to be here, we're planning on stopping by. Generation Zero, which is being published by THQ, is kind of a that's the zombie mech kind of survival game. It's almost like a little bit. It's got a Left 4 Dead feel to it with some mechs.
I'm interested.
That looks
I've
good.
seen enough to be interested in it.
The new Metro Exodus is coming out a little bit later. I think it's coming out this year. Maybe it's 2019. Yeah. They're going to be here. Dying Light's got. I think it's a new game coming out.
They have their new BR.
Yeah,
the new BR that is here. So
I saw the booth for that.
Right.
That'll be great. We're going to hopefully be able to stop by their booth. And then there's a couple of other people here. SAS, who publishes Ark for consoles, and The Long Dark will be here.
I want to get an interview with The Long Dark, because I think that most people don't recognize. I mean, I talk about it, but most people don't recognize that is the most survival game, probably almost out of most of them.
You said it was hard, right?
Oh yeah, people that watch our podcast say they like survival games.
Yeah,
that is probably the most survival-y game that we talk about. Yet.
Most
of our audience doesn't play it, but
not for filthy casuals.
No, I mean, but that is a true survival game. That if you like survival, and they're making it easier because they have that kind of playthrough mode that'll let you restart sections and work your way through it. So it's not as hard. So people need to give it a chance. If they purchased it in the past and haven't played it since they've done all the Wintermute updates and everything, they need to get back in there and give it a shot, because it's got much more of a story playthrough of the survival, and it's not just we're going to throw you out in the middle and watch you freeze to death and starve to death, which it was before.
That's what I got out of it from hearing your description.
Oh,
You're like, dude, it was so cold. It was just like...
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, you're counting calories. You're like, I just need to get food.
I'm not.
I need to eat these. I need to get calories, and you're slowly freezing to death, and you just know you're going to die. I mean, that's was the game before. And now they've made it to where there's more story to it, and it's something you can just play through when you have time.
It'll be cool to hear what they got going on then.
Yeah, I think.
And they put out. I mean, they've got 2 more, I think, sections to it coming out. 2 more chapters. So they've got a ton of content. They've way over exceeded anyone's expectations of what that game was going to be. So they'd be good people to talk to, because I think they have a really good vision of here's what we want the game to be, and they're putting it out there and not filling people's heads with expectations that are unrealistic, like we've been seeing a lot lately with video games. Of we're gonna do everything. We're gonna make this everything you want it to be. And I want to talk about it. Yeah. But the thing is with this one, I think that they have an idea of here's exactly what we want to deliver, and they turn around and they, without telling you, they say here it is, and they keep on delivering some cool content.
And they're making a showing of it. Like we were just talking about, complaining about who's not here, who is here. You know what I mean? Who's trying to push it forward and be like, look, we're working hard on this.
And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a single computer running in somebody's booth that's showing their game.
Yeah.
That's what we need. I mean, the survival community's big. It's a big freaking community.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the amount of people playing games like PUBG. A lot of those players are the same people that played H1Z1 Just Survive. A lot of those people are the same people. Miscreated, even though it's not the biggest community, it's a solid group of people that play those games. 7 Days to Die's got a big community. We know why they're not here. They can't even push an update after a year and a half.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, they've got a solid community. It's not like we're some super small niche group of people. The survival genre is big. Look at how popular a game like The Last of Us is on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn close to survival.
But, okay, so how many of these other games are kind of going into the market as console games are able to provide a bigger world? We've got that new Cyberpunk game coming out. We've got Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out. I think that they're starting to deliver worlds that are big and what people think of as survival at the moment, that are big and open, where you have to go on and find things and do things. I think that these other ones are starting to fill that niche, because they're bringing their games, which used to be a very linear path, like I was talking about last week, where when you play The Last of Us, like, you're not going to be able to get out of that path. Nothing you do gets out of that path. But then they're saying, okay, we've got Red Dead Redemption, where you can go where and do whatever you want.
Even the big titles, well, like Red Dead Redemption, but even the last Zelda was like that. Open world is, I mean, that's where everybody's trying to go. They want to give them the players that experience to.
But I mean, would you consider that survival? When you can run around and loot things and do whatever you want?
No, but they're taking elements from
But
that genre.
but
I think the
definition
definition needs to change, and I think we need to be part of that. The definition of survival, I think, is changing. When you think of survival games right now, what's the first thing you think of? First word.
Monitoring your stats.
Battle Royale. I mean, right now it's
when I think of survival, I think zombie.
Yeah.
Right. It's the first thing I think of when I think of survival game. I think
food
zombies.
and water. Like when you start monitoring your stats, it gets into those. You know what I'm saying? You
And
got to
it's
monitor just
okay,
surviving.
well, I mean, look at this new Scum game.
Scum,
I mean,
yeah.
that is survival to the core. Because if you look, I mean, you're paying attention to every little stat. That is a survival game, and it's got zombies.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, if you want to figure out what you might measure a survival game as, Scum is the perfect example, where you have to look at, I need to exercise this amount, I have to eat this amount, I have to do all these different things to maintain my character, right, in this big world.
If you do it too good, they get fat, right?
Mm-hmm. If you eat too much and you don't exercise enough, you don't run around enough, you start gaining weight, and it shows you in the game. So I think that you could, but imagine these other games like Red Dead Redemption. It would be very easy for them to start. I know they want to keep it casual enough for the console, but they could make a survival mode of the game where you just have a few more elements you have to monitor, and it would be a survival game.
Yeah, that's true.
Blamp in the chat is saying Scum is great, so many details. It's unfortunate that it came out literally the day we were all getting ready to leave. It came out Wednesday. It came out Wednesday.
Are they gonna have a presence here in any kind?
I think they will. I bet you that somewhere there's going to be something about Scum.
I would hope so.
Because they were at the last one, and they had a nice booth.
Scum was at PAX East?
They were at PAX East.
No.
Yes.
Were they?
Yes, they had a booth.
We didn't talk to them, though.
No.
Why?
Because we didn't know what they were yet.
Interesting.
Well, no.
Are you sure?
No, I think it was game. No, there was one of the. I saw a big booth. No, we didn't see them.
To the footage.
I'd have to look.
Roll it.
I thought we saw. I
Producer,
thought I saw
Jamie,
something
pull that up.
promoting Scum.
Can you pull that up, please?
But no, I know that they've been going to conferences for the past year.
They were
that
at Gamescom.
I don't know that they were at PAX East, but I know right after that, I remember seeing big booths of Scum. So I would be shocked if they weren't here, being that they just released and they have something they can let people play and buy.
I hope they do. Because
Yeah,
I don't know
shocked.
a lot about the game other than hearing you guys talk about it, so that'd be really cool to get some firsthand, to get to see it. You know?
And be able to interview them and say,
yeah,
what's the community? How's the community accepting the game? Is it a bigger, have more people playing than you expected? I mean, is it on track? It'd be interesting to see what their perspective, because we see it and kind of see people saying, I'm going to wait to see how it is.
Yeah.
Are people really buying it? Are they getting as many players?
I'll tell you what, the 24-hour peak was hit today. Current players, welcome to the program. 56,000 people was their peak today.
That's good. If they can maintain
First
that.
day. There's 23,000 people playing right now, and it's a little after 10 o'clock on the West Coast on what's today, Thursday?
Have you guys picked it up yet?
No, because it came out today.
How much is it?
I believe it's $20.
$20.
Oh,
That's not bad.
I'll pick up a copy.
Yeah, so
I wonder how the servers work on that too. I mean, is that something where you can host your own server, or is it all public servers? I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, $19 is Scum.
Does anybody have a gaming laptop? We'll pull a copy up and play it.
I mean, possibly.
You do.
I got a Quadro, bro.
Blamp says you can for groups or teams in Scum, and you can see all your team names above their head.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they have grouping, which is already way ahead of some other games that we've played.
So yeah, there's just I hope they're here. I really do, because I think
for sure.
that would be the kingpin of the survival, right? We got a brand new survival game. We're here. We're at PAX West 2018.
It would really be nice in this genre to have something to get truly excited about.
Yeah, because you and I were talking about this, I think, on a phone call the other day, and you mentioned it to me today about H1Z when we were talking about it. And you said, "What else is there?" And I said, "There isn't."
The homage you put together, truly, and it was funny and everything, but it truly made me sad. I was watching some of those parts, and I was like, "Oh man, there's nothing like that." I can't go this weekend and have that kind of a good time.
I think we forgot what was the most important part of that whole time, and that was the people we played with coming together on a regular basis and just having fun together. That's what it was all about.
For example, I think Rust could be that survival game, but the community sucks.
Yeah.
Terribly toxic community. Rust has got the elements to be the survival game that H1Z1
But imagine how
should
much
have been.
we would get trolled inside of that game.
That's my point.
Worse
Then what made
than
them so
H1Z1.
different?
The community. It's absolutely the community. That game has been 100% run by the trolls that control the game. Gary's pretty much abandoned it. And he's working on his new thing. They're doing updates. They don't even do weekly updates anymore. They do monthly updates now.
Yeah, they've been rolling back. I mean, they're still putting stuff in there, but I think they realize like there's a limited remaining audience for Rust because people come in and they're just like, "Oh, this is
a
toxic.
disaster. I'm leaving it." Yeah.
Yeah, and so he showed how many refunds they get. He showed a graph showing how many refunds people refund Rust within the first like couple days. It's huge, like 50%.
But see, the thing with H1Z1 is there were trolls, don't get me wrong, but there was a huge clan presence. Yeah. And I would say a majority
we could combat
of the players,
those trolls. We can't combat them in Rust.
No.
Like, they will come and just destroy everything you have, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because they're willing to play more hours and be just jerks.
H1Z1, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was organic or just if it was organic or they did something, but seemed to foster communities.
I can't talk. I've done my fair share of being a jerk in H1Z1.
Yeah, I think everybody's been a jerk in H1Z1, but you were in a group.
Oh, for sure.
And then you left that group and you joined our group.
Yep, several groups. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We hang out with some people and then it would fall off or whatever. And
that doesn't happen in every game.
No.
It doesn't happen miscreated, I don't think. I mean, we're not so into the miscreated community, but I don't think that happens in miscreated.
There's not a communication that happens.
Sure as hell doesn't happen in Rust.
No.
And I think it happens in Ark a little bit.
What?
That kind of.
But those
the way
groups
that you
don't seem to be as accepting. Like getting into those groups, like they get all their dinosaurs. That's the thing is they can get too strong with just 4 people. And if they can start out the big group, everybody drops off, and there's 4 people maintaining this huge tribe thing, and they don't let people in because they don't want you in there. Like,
right.
I think you had a better chance of running around people and looting and shooting people in H1Z1 to where they'd be like, okay, he's okay. Like, we'll let him come and hang out with us. You can come into our base and do whatever.
Well, plus
you can
only get so big, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, in Ark, if you get a Giga, you're a serious problem. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, if one clan gets so big on a server, they won't let anybody else rise above a certain level. Yeah. They like having activity and people around, and that's fine. But once they start getting too big, you got to squash them down. But in H1Z1, you could come in as a clan and you could build up to be on par, and then there was rivalry.
And, right? If you spread out, you could do stuff to still maintain on the server when you can't do that on Ark, because they'll just find everything that you have, and with their dinosaur, they'll just destroy it in one day.
Yep.
Where you couldn't do that in H1Z1.
There really is not a game at this point, and you could make an argument that you may be able to argue a game or two, but I don't think there's truly a game that fosters good community relationships like H1Z1 did. Yeah. I mean, our whole group, for a majority of our group here, came from just random people we met playing H1Z1. Yeah. Hey, come join our base. Hey, we do a podcast. Come check that out too. Yeah, that was legitimately how, it grew. Yeah, and it was funny in that homage you talked about. There's the video of the Infection Clan kidnapping Summit. There's like 25 of us.
Yeah. What other game all on at one time?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's crazy.
How could that happen? What other game could that possibly happen in? Where you'd run across Summit, you kidnap them, and you take him back to your base. People didn't kill him. Like, it was a whole thing that just happened, and it was a lot of fun. Like, that wouldn't happen in Ark. They would just kill him endlessly, and he'd be like, all right, I'm leaving. Right? It wouldn't happen in Rust. They would, be killing. And then in Ark, that they probably wouldn't have talked to him in the first place to even get that experience, right? I don't see any other games at the moment, and maybe Scum, maybe one of these other games is that game, but I'm just not seeing it. I mean, you could look at Arma. That's not that kind of a game. Like, people never get close enough
to do it. The new DayZ, they're trying to reinvent DayZ, and that's why I hope that they're here.
Yeah,
I think that ship has long sailed, but they're putting in a lot of work. They just released the Xbox game beta. I played it. It was a lot of fun. The VoIP is on the Xbox is seamless because it's built right in. Just plug in the headset and talk, and there's a hotkey for it.
Is that the first time it's been on a console?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe that will release, but it'll be interesting to see with the other competition that's out there. Now, they've been doing it for so long. There's a lot of other competition out there. Will they be able to rise to the top? And people say that's the game that's the replacement for Just Survive.
Well, and the question the thing will be is, can they get over the negative PR? Yeah. We're seeing that with No Man's Sky right now. Can you get over the negative PR? And DayZ has got this, just an atrocious track record.
Well, they've got to figure out, they got to figure out with their sales. It doesn't seem like they're really trying to get copies of the game out there. I figure if they're really trying to populate servers, that they're going to turn around and say, all right, we're going to do some sales. We're going to really to that price. So it's not like they're really trying to pick up new players at the moment. I think, and maybe they're not trying to. Maybe they want to get to a certain state before they say, all right, now we're going to bring on players.
Released Fortnite.
Well, same way that Just Survived did originally. I mean, look at all the hype and everything that was behind that. Once people saw it, they were like, what Smedley put out, that is cool.
It was cool.
Like, that's what I want. I want to play that.
It was a good recipe. It was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It had a perfect
And so
balance.
I think if a company came out and they said, look at this game, I think they could get enough of that hype and those people that are searching for that type of game. Because I don't know. I mean, we'll see if something like Scum is able to do that. But I've seen a lot of people talking about Scum, but it hasn't had that hype that H1Z1 did.
Yeah.
You know, the H1Z1 was like, everyone was watching that and just saying, oh, that's
now,
so
it is
cool.
a different time. I mean,
Yeah.
we were coming
Games have
off
progressed quite a bit.
We were coming off the DayZ craze with H1Z1, so I think it's a little bit different. But I think in terms of survival games that we've seen recently, Scum's got it. In terms of the most hype for a game, I think it's got to be Scum. And it's
They're
evident
definitely
by
going for it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's definitely. I mean, it's evident by the 56,000 people that were playing it at a peak today.
Well, and that's why I keep saying, you know, maybe there will be a Western game because you saw that Daisy.
You want to be Western games?
You know what I'm saying? But you saw.
I don't have the image here to pull up.
But
on screen.
you saw
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Daisy turned around and pretty much propelled H1Z1 just because of that popularity.
Well, zombies were Walking Dead, right?
But the thing
were,
is you've
you
got
know,
Westworld, you've got Red Dead Redemption that's coming out. I think you're going to get people going on this hype of a Western theme. That if a developer came out and had a really cool Western themed game that was a survival game,
real gritty, and
real gritty,
yeah,
not cartoony,
Nope.
none of that. I think people would take to that because they think that market is fresh. Where the zombies been played out a bit. Like we watched that Scum preview and we're like, why in the world?
Or the,
We're done
Why are
with
there
zombies,
zombies
right?
in this?
Can we all agree we're done with zombies for now? You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I don't have an urge to play a zombie game. I mean, whether there's zombies in there or not, it's not the same feeling for me. I'm not as hyped up about The Walking Dead. I mean,
Well,
that's kind of done to me.
Yeah, but the zombies do provide a constant struggle, a constant battle aside from
Constant
just
PvE.
PvP, right? I mean, other games have tried to coin in on that without making it so much, you know.
But the thing is, you could
player
do
versus
that.
player,
You
like-
could do that with
What was the Tom Clancy games
Indians
that came out?
and things like that.
Not
Like they
the
could
same
come up
before
with.
that.
Division.
Yeah, the Division. They had NPCs as well as, you know, player versus player that would come out and get into it, but
But see, you could do that. Don't you think you
Need
could do that in a
something.
Western thing where you have Indian
you
attacks?
could. Oh,
You
for
have
sure.
a bunch of wildlife that are attacking. Like I think they could create that similar feel that we got, but now that we are more modernized in computers, where before they had to do zombies because they're incredibly simplistic.
Mhm.
You don't have to really program them that good. You know, all the rough
Even if
movements.
they're
and
sketchy, it's okay.
yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
put up with a lot of weird behaviors from zombies in H1Z1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they couldn't get a zombie to animate right, and that's like the most random movements you can think of.
Right, right, right.
I think now we're at a point where they could make good AI with certain companies could make really good AI to where you have random Indian attacks, you have bandits attacking you, and I think that's what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't remember how many what the real Indian presence is in Red Dead Redemption.
But you've got to have something. You've
But
gotta
they've
have
got those
something to
band
constantly
attacks.
challenge
I
the
think they're
player,
going to
right?
have that, and I think that'll be a good example of you could do a survival game like this.
Yeah.
To where maybe a company will say, "Hey, we could do that. Let's make a survival game that has these aspects."
So we're at about
Oh, I'm
we're,
good.
we're at about
Thank
we're at about 50 minutes here. I think so. I guess we'll wrap up the show here. I guess we have any fun stories that we can tell outside of PAX traveling here? I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, we went to an arcade. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Went to an
Oh, yeah.
arcade
Played some
this
video
afternoon.
games.
Played some racing arcade games.
Played some Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
I heard you whooped a man's ass in Marvel vs. Capcom
I
2.
beat everybody off the machine. I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's what happened today.
I mean, this man looked like he was having a good time, and then you sat down and what happened?
Well, I mean, we just jumped on there, you know what I'm saying, and wiped him off, and he was tearing up a little bit, but he handled it well. He was grown about it, you know. He was like,
Was he paying for your sessions to whoop his ass?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't even like that. I mean, I just got over on the guy a little bit, and we, you know, won and whatnot. Which is nice.
That's funny because
I haven't played that game in like.
I was down there. I saw you were standing behind him. You're kind of looking over his shoulder, and I came back like 5 minutes later, and he was gone, and you were sitting in the player one seat.
That's how hunters do, bro. You have to scope out your prey. You know what I mean? You have to understand what you're up against. You don't go in there and get your ass smoked and be like, oh, That was my fault for not paying attention.
The guns were terribly calibrated in this this place, but they did have a LAN center that you could rent. You could
$7 an hour. You could play H1. Well, I don't know.
a whole list of
Was it-
PC
They had
games.
PUBG in there. There was CS:GO.
Xbox One, PS4,
Yeah, that was cool.
Nintendo Switch, and Wii U games.
Plus,
And
they had pool tables and stuff in the back too. So I mean, you could just